following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
Always good to see Annabelle. And welcome to No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We're presented by Belly Up Sports in association with Gozilla Media. My name's Ryan McCarthy. I'm one of the co-hosts. And to my right is a man who I'm pretty sure, had himself a very Merry Christmas. Dustin Henry. Dustin, how are we doing today?
I'm doing all right. I did have a very Merry Christmas, but today I'm dealing with a phenomenon, and I'm glad that I was off because I don't know how you feel about it, Ryan, but for me, there's always like a Christmas high, and then it ends, and then it just boom, it goes right down. There's a bit of a post-Christmas. I don't know what to call it, but there's like a post-Christmas lull where you realize that you're starting the journey back into normal life. New Year is around the corner, but New Year's never been that big of a deal of a holiday to me. But it was a great Christmas, very relaxing, and I did not watch football as much as I would have liked to. I did lots of other things, but that's the mercy. When you're at somebody else's house, you can't really say, hey, I want to watch this. We watched some Christmas specials, and football was not as high on the agenda, so I had to do some catching up today. But how are you today, sir?
Doing good. Yesterday I got a chance to visit my mom, and hang out with my dad for a while. We watched football. When I was visiting my mom, we watched the Chiefs and the Raiders. We'll get to that in a few moments. Didn't watch Giants, Eagles. Didn't watch Ravens, Niners, but because we were watching some Christmas movies and just catching up and talking. But otherwise, good company, good food. Mom's being well taken care of. So if you're watching Mom, hi. But it was a good Christmas. It's a good Christmas. So I enjoyed myself.
Excellent.
So we're going to talk about Week 16 in the NFL in just a moment. But first, we just need to do some business and stuff. Just want to remind you about our socials, which are right down here below. Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. The now infrequently used TikTok. It's at NoCredsREQ. Facebook.com/NoCredsREQ. YouTube.com/@NoCredsREQ. And if you wouldn't mind, if you're watching live, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to all of our social media channels right down here below. On the podcast side, you can subscribe to the podcast on a myriad of podcast platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Google Play, wherever you podcast, rate and review. A 5-star rating would be very, very helpful. And also, if you're on a platform where you can review, we'll even read your review on the air, no matter how Grinched-like or how majestic it is. We'll read your review on the air. And also, since it's a live show, engage with us. Whether you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, and now StreamYard, which is a platform we use, has the ability to get comments from Twitter or X.
Ooh.
So if you're watching on either of those platforms, which is where we stream to every single week, we want your comments. We want your comments. And, it's the most wonderful sound of the year. I got to play it. It's just the most wonderful sound of the week. I shall play it now.
Here we go.
That's right. We want your comments. In fact, we've got one already from the legendary Kevin Wilson of Belly Up Fantasy Sports. This merry day after Christmas, fellas. Merry Christmas to you, Kevin. Happy Boxing Day, if you so observe. We appreciate you tuning in and leaving a comment. Leaving a comment while you watch. And again, it's a live show. We want your comments. Engage with us. And actually, before we get started, I do have to note, I gotta give a shout out to my friend Emily, who gave me an idea for a new sport this afternoon on a Discord server that I participate in, and I give a prompt. We'll give a game, and I have a prompt. And I said, well, if you so observe, what are you doing today on Boxing Day? And she left a gif of someone booping a kitten's nose and the kitten flopping over, which is cute. So I said, so I wrote, I didn't know booping kitties was a sports ball game because we jokingly call my podcast a sports ball podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And she wrote back, "It sure is. You should talk about it on your YouTube channel." I said, "Oddly enough, new episode tonight, and I'll totally talk about it." Which she replied, "Yes. They curl up like a ball, therefore it's accepted in the sports ball community. It's a very dangerous sport. Sometimes you end up with scratches all over you."
Yes.
And I should have replied, but I never got a chance to. Whoever comes out with the least scratches wins the game.
There we go. Now we'll have to add to this. What happens if you get a bite? Is that like extra points or is that negative? Is that negative points?
If you get, I think okay. So we've got the idea rolling. So Emily, if you're watching, thanks for the idea for the inspiration. If you get a bite, it's negative 2 points. If you get a scratch, it's negative 1 point. So you start off with 10 points, and if you boop the kitty without a scratch, you keep those 10 points. But for every scratch and every bite, you get points deducted off.
All right.
For every scratch, it's minus 1 point. For every bite, it's negative 2 points.
I think this could work, and it could translate to dogs as well. Although we would have to, we'll have to figure out the criteria. Whether it's belly rubs for dogs, I don't know.
Yes, coming soon to the 2032 Olympics. It's kitty ball. Kitty ball. Yeah. we get credit. We want all the monies. We want every single cent from kitty ball.
You will be hearing from our attorneys if we are not paid well in royalties.
And from what I understand, I have the best attorney in Saratoga County. So watch yourself. All right, that's enough kitty ball. We're going to talk Week 16 in the NFL, and we're going to start with the biggest upset of the week. Dustin, what was your biggest upset from Week 16?
Well, I would have had another game in place of this one. That is until I was at a Christmas luncheon at some of my brother-in-law's family's house. Very, very delicious food over there. And as I was eating the food, I watched the Raiders beat the Chiefs. And as soon as that happened, that was my biggest upset. I could not believe it. And here is a sentence I never thought I would utter this season, Ryan. But the Chiefs are missing Eric Bieniemy at OC. I thought that it would be a seamless transition. I thought that Andy Reid would be calling plays. But then they brought in one Charles Nagy, and it has not gone well. They also, you're waiting for the Chiefs to turn it on, but something is up in Kansas City. Something is up, or Matt Nagy, sorry. Something, I got it. I
was waiting for it.
I got it. Matt Nagy, Charles Nagy. He's the owner of a.
You mean Ace from the 1997 Cleveland Indians, Charles Nagy?
Yeah. Didn't he go on to later pitch for the Angels as well? I can't remember.
You know what? Live research, folks. Let's take a look.
Oh man, Matt Nagy clearly he is not translating well to the Chiefs scheme, and also the Chiefs defense is starting to slide because the Raiders ran all over the Chiefs. And I have a feeling you might have picked the same game as I did. So before we get your thoughts on it, I just want to say Antonio Pierce emphatically has done enough to get that head coaching job. Mark Davis, do not make the same mistake that you did when you let Rich Bisaccia go, when clearly all the players loved playing for him. Hire Antonio Pierce. He has done a great job. The Raiders look like a different team under him. Aiden O'Connell is playing very well, and the Raiders ran all over the Chiefs yesterday. The Chiefs, there's trouble in KC. There's real trouble in KC now.
Yeah, that was my upset pick of the week, and I could not believe not only the Raiders winning the game, but in the manner in which they did it. They forced two turnovers. They forced two turnovers in the first half, both of them which led to touchdowns. One of them was being a pick six. And the fact that the defense was just killing this team, because the Chiefs would drive down the field. This has been the Chiefs' biggest burden this year. And I've talked to a friend named Lamar. I'm going to try to get him on the podcast and hopefully very soon to talk some Kansas City Chiefs and what's going on with them. He's a Kansas City Chiefs fan. But he noted that regardless of the fact that the Chiefs don't score a lot of points, they're still 8th in total offense in the NFL. The problem is, in this game and in previous games, they can eat up yardage. They can eat up yardage. They can eat up the clock, time of possession, the leading time of possession, but they just can't put points on the board. It's becoming a problem. It's becoming a problem. And I talked about the Buffalo Bills, the way that they were until they let go of Ken Dorsey and they brought in Joe Brady, and they've been gangbusters ever since. I think they've lost. I think they're unbeaten since the change. I can't figure out if the Bills had an identity. I couldn't figure that out. Well, now we know what they're all about. The Chiefs, though, I'm starting to believe I don't know if they have an identity. I don't know what their identity is. And the fact that the Raiders forcing those turnovers, including a pick six, they sacked Patrick Mahomes 4 times. Who are the Kansas City Chiefs? Like I said, they can move the ball down the field, but unlike Travis Kelce with Taylor Swift, the offense can't score.
Well, yeah, and it's translating even to field goals because the Chiefs drove down towards the end of the second half, and they go to attempt a field goal and they miss even the field goal. It just is. It's unbelievable, and you can see the frustration boiling over now.
Yeah.
There's definitely some trouble, and Patrick Mahomes, he's a victim of his own success, and he has not played up to his standards this year. I think part of it is the protection, but he's also athletic enough to escape pressure and make some things happen. But they're just not as crisp as they've been, and as a result of it, you don't want to give up on the Chiefs because they're too talented. They're too talented, and basically their past success. But it's getting late early. I don't know when they're going to be able to turn it on.
No, and I'm getting kind of worried because by this time last year, the Chiefs were rolling. Mm-hmm. The Chiefs were rolling, and we knew who they were. And I think one of the biggest mistakes they made was not re-signing Juju Smith-Schuster, because he was one of their targets last year in the lead up to the Super Bowl, wound up scoring a Super Bowl. By the way, where's Sky Moore? He was drafted last year to be an integral part of this offense. He was the guy who was supposed to replace Tyreek Hill. Where is he? Where is he in this offense? I don't know if he's been hurt or if he's just been out of the lineup or Patrick Mahomes is just not targeting him. I know was it Reed, Rashid Reed, or I can't remember his name for the life of me, but we'll find out who it is. He's a rookie. He's been the primary target this year. Travis Kelce's game has gone south, has dipped south in a big way. Yes. I think part of it has to do with the fact that I think the Taylor Swift thing is a distraction. I think him dating Taylor Swift, the fact that he's now basically the face of the NFL, in that you see him on pretty much every single endorsement on these days between Pfizer and Doritos and Kimball's chicken, Kimball's Chunky Soup. I think all those things have become a big distraction, and he's not focused on his game, and he's not the elite. He's still elite. He's still an elite tight end. Don't get me wrong. But every fantasy football owner who drafted Travis Kelce this year has been super, super disappointed with his output this year. And I think from week 4 of the NFL, when he scored a touchdown in primetime on Sunday Night Football against the Jets, ever since then, he's shown glimpses, but he's not the same guy he was last year. That he's been over the last half decade.
And we also have to wonder if whether age is finally starting to catch up to him, because also, as you said, he is a victim of his own success as well, because for a tight end, particularly at the tight end position this year, which has not been great overall, he is still the man, but he's just not playing up to his standards.
Right. And I just have to wonder if all these endorsements and the dating Taylor Swift, I wonder if it's just starting to become a huge distraction. And it's been, that's just me. This is just me. This is just me spitballing. I wonder if this is just the distractions off the field are affecting his game on the field.
Yeah.
And we got some more comments from Kevin. Cats rule. We don't, stinking dogs. I'm a cat owner, but I like both. I'm an equal opportunity belly rubber, belly scratcher. He also says the Raiders averaged 3 yards per pass attempt and somehow won the game. Yeah, because it was on the strength of 145 yards from Zamir White, who filled in nicely for Josh Jacobs. Had those 2 big runs in the fourth quarter, towards the end of the fourth quarter, that basically sealed the deal for the Raiders. Because after that big run he had over 40 yards, over a 40-yard run, right before the 2-minute warning, Kansas City had to burn a timeout. That was the last time out of the game. Then he had that other big run for about 15 yards where he absolutely stiff-armed the Kansas City cornerback to heck. Go to the 2-minute warning, kneel down 4 times, game's over. Mm-hmm. And our friend Captain Lou Gamelin says the Chiefs are still snake bitten after Detroit beat them in week 1. I mean, look, I know Lou's a big Detroit Lions fan, but he could be right. He could be absolutely right.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, the Chiefs, let's put it this way. The Chiefs of the last few years are not used to coming out and opening the season with a loss. Let's call it what it is.
Yep. Which leads us to our biggest disappointments from week 16. I'm going to lead off with this one. The Bengals and the Steelers. The Bengals absolutely laid an egg in front of a national television. Oh, if you have an NFL network, you would have watched it there for the 5 people who have NFL Network, myself included. Going into the game, we saw the Steelers were starting Mason Rudolph. And your original thought going into the game, if you're an outside observer, was the Bengals are going to win. Wrong. The Steelers jumped out to a 24-0 lead. They never looked back. And the reason why it's so disappointing is because the Bengals never showed up. The Bengals never showed up in this game. Yeah, Jake Browning threw for 300 yards once again. But at that time, the reason why he had all those pass yards was because they were trying to play catch up after giving up 24 consecutive points in the first half. Running game was not existent, and the defense just basically stopped, just never left the airport, never left Pittsburgh International Airport either. So my biggest disappointment this week was the Cincinnati Bengals. Absolutely had to have this game. Absolutely had to have this game to keep in the playoffs, in the playoff hunt. They didn't do it. Pittsburgh's still in it. They got 2 more games to go, and one of these teams is going to the playoffs, I think. So it could be, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Dustin, who's your biggest disappointment from this week?
My biggest disappointment is one Brock Purdy, and I know people are going to come at me and they're going to say, "Hey, this is too, this is too easy. Everybody has a bad game." But let me remind you that Brock Purdy was being considered by some to be in talks for the MVP conversation. If you want to be the MVP, or if you want to be considered amongst the MVPs, you cannot throw 4 interceptions. Now, the Ravens defense, part of it is the Ravens defense is elite. And I'll get to the Ravens later in the show because clearly everybody's been sleeping too much on the Ravens. The Ravens came into this game underdogs and they crushed. They made the 49ers look pedestrian in this game, large parts due to the play of Brock Purdy. Now, they only sacked Brock Purdy twice, but I had an eye on this game because this was my most anticipated matchup from last week. 2 of those interceptions, they weren't really Brock Purdy's fault. They were deflected balls. One of them was batted down by a defender into the hands of another defender. You can't put that one on Brock. That stuff like that's going to happen in the NFL. But the one that you can put on Brock Purdy is when the 49ers, I believe, were already up. They had gotten a safety on the Ravens, and they were already up, and they were driving down the field, and they threw towards the red zone, and Brock Purdy threw a pick to a Ravens defender in the end zone. Mm-hmm. If the Niners had gone up and jumped to a double-digit lead early, that might have changed the tenure of the entire game. So that one is on Purdy. And then later in the game, he threw a pick right to a Ravens defender. I don't even know who he was trying to go to on that one, but you could tell the Ravens were in his face, pressured him all night. And as a result, Brock Purdy, who has looked great in flashes and good at times this season, he was making some questionable decisions. And I get it. He's human. Everybody's a human being. They're going to react. But there was one thing where he threw the ball behind his back to Christian McCaffrey. He flipped it up to him, trying to avoid a sack. And guess what? Christian McCaffrey got clobbered behind the line when he caught that ball because it was just it was a desperation flip up behind the back. At that point, just take the sack. It's the same thing. Hang on to the ball, take the sack. And it's easy for me to say that as a podcaster, and I don't have to actually get within the gridiron. But Brock Purdy, he didn't look great against the defense that is clearly very good. But to be considered an MVP candidate, you have to play well against the great defenses too.
Absolutely. No, I don't disagree. And as usual, before we get to the next category, we got to play the slow clap. Congratulations on a terribly disappointing week to both the Bengals and Brock Purdy. Yes, congratulations. Thank you, Chauncey Winston.
Yes,
for slow clapping for both to let them know how we feel about this team and the individual performance this week. Most entertaining game, and Dustin, I'm gonna have you lead off with this one. What was the most entertaining game in your mind this week?
Whew. Well, I was surprised by this.
We had a lot of them too.
We did have some good ones, and don't get me started on the Seahawks needing late game heroics to beat the Titans. That's another issue. But the game, if you had told me before the season, this game was a candidate for my biggest upset too, and it would have been had the Chiefs not beaten the Raiders. And this game, Broncos Patriots, was kind of like a car crash. You couldn't look away because the Patriots, their defense showed up to play, which the Patriots defense has been doing great things all season for largely in futility because the Patriots offense, we know what that's been like. But I'll tell you, this game, how many times could the Broncos shoot themselves in the foot? You had a fumble by Mims on a kickoff return, which caused a turnover. Russell Wilson throws an early pick on driving towards the end zone, turnover. The Patriots fumbled, I believe, on their opening possessions. It was 2 quick turnovers to start the game, and I'm going, oh man, this is going to be crazy. But the Patriots, they jump out due to defensive turnovers, and the offense also looking, while not great, much more confident under Bailey Zappi, and it made me wonder if the Patriots would have gotten a few more wins this year had they stuck with Bailey Zappi from week 1 on. I mean, Mac Jones, he's clearly not it. Devontae Parker had a few amazing grabs over Patrick Surtain II, largely acknowledged as one of the best cover corners in this game. The Patriots get a lot of flack from everybody for not having that wideout, that number 1 wideout. But Devontae Parker, he looked good in this game. And also, shout out to Zeke Elliott for hurdling a defender on a touchdown score for the Patriots. He has looked, his numbers haven't been off the charts, okay? And we have, I have thrown a lot of dirt on Zeke Elliott during this show, saying, oh, he's goal line situation back now. To his credit, he came out. Now, this Patriots team is out of playoff contention, and Zeke says, hey, I hope they use me. I'm hungry. I want to play. Keep giving me the ball. Keep letting me. So I was never a fan of that gesture, the feed Zeke, but he has he has showed up for the Patriots every game, and there's been flashes where you look and you go, he might still have something left in the tank. And so I will say the Patriots jumped out to a big lead, and because they caused the Broncos to turn over a lot of the games. And then in this game, we have something that I have never seen. The one of the field goal kickers, the Patriots field goal kicker, he was going for a field goal. He hit the crossbar, but it hit where the mics are in the crossbar. It's one of the loudest misses that you'll ever hear. It was pretty funny. But the Broncos, credit to them, they engineered a comeback, and they converted on 2 touchdowns and then 2-point conversions to tie the game. The only problem for them was then the Patriots drove down the field, and Chad Ryland redeemed himself with a game-winning field goal. So it was a game I wasn't expecting much from, and it was a game the Broncos, frankly, had to have and should have had. You got to give credit to Bill Belichick and his defense and his defensive schemes. And the offense, while not looking great, looked competent in this game. So I found that game to be very entertaining. I was surprised.
Yeah. I mean, I think that definitely qualified as one of my biggest upsets of the week as well, because this was a game that you figured, Denver was favored by 7 points coming into this game.
Mm-hmm.
And you figured with the role that they've been on up until last week when the Detroit Lions crushed them, and you figured, all right, it's a good bounce back game. They're playing the Patriots. They're still alive for the AFC West title and a playoffs or potentially a wild card spot. And then they absolutely got dropped by the Patriots. And also it could have been a biggest disappointment as well. So it qualifies not only for one, but 2 categories this week with the Broncos. And again, a couple weeks ago, we said in this program, look out. Here they come. Watch out for the Denver Broncos. They might surprise some people after a really slow start. And now I think they're kind of starting to limp towards the finish line from exhausting themselves from trying to play catch up.
Yeah.
It could have been what this was.
Yeah, they should have had this game. And also, like I said, hats off to Bill Belichick. He always knows how to coach up a defense. He was prepared for this team. And, an underrated Patriots defense that everybody kind of forgets about because the offense has been deplorable. But big win for the Patriots, and it was entertaining, especially that kick off the crossbar. It was very loud. I enjoyed it. What was your most entertaining game this week, sir?
So there are quite a few games that qualified for most entertaining game this week, but I'm going to go in a different direction because I like to do that on this program.
Oh, switching it up.
Packers and Panthers was surprisingly entertaining. And I'm at my brother's house. We're watching the Jets game. Unfortunately, he doesn't have a red zone. So we're not watching red zone. We're watching the Jets. We're not going to talk about that game. But let's just say I had to drink another hard seltzer, and that was not enjoyable. But that game qualified as an entertaining game.
Yeah.
But in my mind, the Packers and the Panthers were the most entertaining game this week. Packers jump out to a 23-10 lead at the half. But the Panthers, to their credit, and we talked about them this season, them being a really terrible team, but they've got a couple wins under their belt. They had a win last week against the Atlanta Falcons. They show a lot of fight in this game. I gotta give them a lot of credit. They outscored the Packers 20-10 in the second half. Bryce Young finally breaks the 300-yard mark for the first time in his young career, his rookie season. Took him 16 weeks to do it, but he finally eclipsed the 300-yard mark in a passing in the game. Found DJ Chark for 2 scores. However, Panthers ran out of time. The Packers ground down the clock. Anders Carlson hits a 32-yard field goal with 19 seconds to win. They keep the Packers keep their playoff hopes alive. But I will admit it was fun to see the Panthers not only score points, but stay in the game for this long, for the first time all year. And the 2 wins they had this year were walk-off wins on field goals on 2 separate occasions.
Mm-hmm.
But it was nice for them to see them, at least on the highlights, keep things tight.
Yeah.
Even though and the claw back, no pun intended, claw back into the game, and wound up tying the score. with a few minutes remaining. But again, the Packers doing their thing, run on the clock, get the field goal, and they go home and have a Merry Christmas and stay within playoff contention. By the way, coming back to Charles Nagy, he actually finished his career with the San Diego Padres in 2003.
Okay,
So
that's what it was.
Cleveland.
All right.
Yeah, he played with Cleveland for the majority of his career. Played his final season in 2003 with the San Diego Padres. So
there we go. A little
go.
Ken Griffey Jr. slugfest was sneaking into my subconscious there from a wonderful game from 1999 for the Nintendo 64.
Nintendo 64.
Oh, how apt on Christmas time. Now I did play a lot of Ken Griffey Jr. Slugfest, but anyway.
I still have a Nintendo 64 somewhere. I bought it when I was an employee at Babbage's back in the day.
Oh man.
No. Oh wait, it wasn't at Babbage's because that was it was closed by that time. But I bought a used Nintendo 64. I still have it somewhere. I think I still have NFL Blitz, original NFL Blitz. I still have the Rumble Pack.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
And I have South Park, the first South Park video game.
Oh, nice. Okay. The 64 is one of my great console regrets. I got rid of it, and I really shouldn't have, because let's call it what it is. Most of those games don't age well, but I had Conker's Bad Fur Day. That was a great game. I had Rogue Squadron. I had the expansion pack, which made it a little bit more powerful. I miss Conker's Bad Fur Day, though. If you want some laughs, go look up the theme song to one of the greatest boss fights you'll ever see, The Great Mighty Pooh. It is a karaoke singing pile of poop. Go look it up. It's fantastic. You defeat him by throwing corn at him. So I miss Conker's Bad Fur Day. Yes, it came to the Xbox later, Conker Reloaded, but it wasn't the same. I miss the 64 version. I wish I still had my N64 because emulators cannot play it. All right, I'm going to take my Geek Appreciation hat off. That was that was a little
hero, the Christmas Pooh. He loves me. I hate him. Therefore, vicariously, you hate him. And throw lots of corn to make him bad. To defeat him? Off the top of my head.
Oh, well, actually, you throw toilet paper. He throws the corn.
Oh, he throws
the corn like cobs of corn. Sorry, my memory failed me there. You gotta look it up. You gotta look it up. Everybody in the comments, if you don't know, go look it up. It's great.
What a crappy game. All right, before we go to commercial, our first commercial break, we'll take one more quick visit to the comment section. Julie, my friend in Michigan, says hi. She asks, did I talk about the Lions? No, you haven't. Not. But stay tuned. Stay tuned. I will talk about the Lions in just a few moments. But before that, we got to pay the bills, so to speak. With this quick commercial break. Stay tuned for more of No Credentials Required. This episode of No Credentials Required is brought to you by Invader Coffee. For the coffee lover who wants good, quality coffee with no bullshit and no filler, Invader Coffee is an ultra-premium, veteran-owned coffee company proudly delivering only the best coffee your hard-earned money can buy. They aim to only serve the highest quality, organic, air-roasted coffee beans sourced from free trade farms all over the world. They keep things simple. The best coffee at an affordable price in order to provide you with the value you deserve for your morning boost. 100% fair trade, 100% organic coffee beans, 100% air roasted, 100% money back guarantee. Visit invadercoffee.com, enter promo code BELLYUP at checkout, and receive 15% off your order. That's right, folks. Veteran owned. This coffee kicks ass. Yesterday, my sister and I did brunch before we went to get my dad to visit my mom. I broke out because it's Christmas Day. I broke out the bad Santa.
Oh, there we go. Yes, indeed.
Which was my personal favorite holiday blend, and it was just as good as the past bags of bad Santa that I've gotten. But again, they've got other holiday flavors, including the cookie crumble, which I've also enjoyed, and the Jolly Java, which is just as good. So what you want to do, get your hands and your lips and your tongue on some Invader Coffee, you want to visit our affiliate link in the description on Facebook and YouTube, and also select podcast channels. Visit our affiliate link. Use promo code BELLYUP at checkout. Get 15% off your order. And again, you might pay a little bit more for the shipping, but it comes to you in a matter of days. And the coffee is freshly brewed. It's freshly the beans are roasted fresh, and they put them right in the bag and it's shipped right to your home, so you can enjoy it. I personally grind my beans. If you're too lazy and you want to just have a pot and you just get yourself some ground from fresh ground coffee, you can also do that. They also have Keurig cups of the original blend, and I enjoy this coffee a lot. And I'm not gonna use a product. I'm not gonna endorse a product on this program if I haven't tried it. Before I went to get my affiliate link with Invader Coffee, I tried it and I said, "Yep, this is a coffee I like. This is a coffee I like," and I'm still with them in a couple of years, and we're still using the I'm still using the affiliate link to make the order. I don't know about you, Dustin, but Invader Coffee, just great stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure. And it was I didn't have any on Christmas Day because, like I said, I was not at my house. I was at my sister and brother-in-law's, but I did have Invader today. I had the bacon bourbon blend. I had a couple cups of that to start my Boxing Day. I was off, but so I did have a couple cups of that, and I can remember back to a time when I was not yet a co-host of this program. You told me about Invader Coffee, and so I gave it a shot. And I used the affiliate code to support the podcast, support my friend. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, once I had it, I was hooked. So now I've been on Invader Coffee probably for the better part of the past 3 years, I'd say, because I think you told me about it in 2020, if memory serves, during the during the COVID Christmas that everybody remembers, around that time. Aren't we happy to be away from all of that? But Invader Coffee helps us celebrate every day.
You got that right. So yes, visit the affiliate link in the description. Use promo code BELLYUP at checkout. You get 15% off your order. Get yourself some good coffee. Do you hate veterans? Do you hate your country? No, you don't. You should order this coffee. Do it right now. Right now. Moving on to continuing with week 16 talk. We talk about the most notable performance of the week. And Dustin, the most notable performance in my mind was not on the field.
This was when I saw this on the, because I did not hear about this, but when I saw this, I could not believe it.
Yeah. The most notable performance was not on the field. The most notable performance was in the sportsbook, because on DraftKings, which is another affiliate sponsor of Belly Up Sports, dknj.co/BellyUp150, get $200 of bets on a $5 bet. But anyway, this guy probably didn't use the promo code. But this is what happened. He used a 14-player parlay. 14 different players on a parlay. And I'll tell you which ones they were. They were Najee Harris, Gabriel Davis, Jahmyr Gibbs, DK Metcalf, Jerome Ford, Chris Rodriguez Jr., Jonathan Taylor, Calvin Ridley, James Conner, Raheem Mostert, Javonte Williams, Isaiah Pacheco, DeAndre Swift, and Christian McCaffrey. 14-pick parlay. The odds of him or her landing this 14-player parlay were 9,787,560 to 1. Every single parlay hit. Cash out, $489,383.01.
Wow.
Dollar bet.
That's amazing. That is amazing. That's astronomical. Merry Christmas, happy holidays to that person, whatever they celebrate. Maybe they celebrate Orthodox Christmas, maybe they celebrate Kwanzaa, who knows? Congratulations to them.
A festive Yule, that is for sure.
Yeah.
And Dustin, I got before we go to your most notable performance, we got to say hi to our friend Rod Peterson, who's visiting us on Twitter. Our first Twitter comment coming through. He says, "Season's greetings, Rod. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to you as well.
Happy holidays.
Enjoy the long break. You deserve it from your show, the Rod Peterson Show. Most weekdays on Twitter and Game Plus at 12 noon, but they're taking the week off. I suspect so. Enjoy your time off, Rod. But Dustin, getting back on topic, Dustin. What was your most notable performance of this week from week 16?
Well, I regret to inform you that my most notable performance was a much more traditional route. So, hats off to you, props to you, should I say, for acknowledging that prop bet. That is amazing. But I'm going to go back on the field for my most notable performance. And for me, it's Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper, he went off this game. He had 11 receptions for 265 yards and 2 touchdowns. Not only is that a great performance, but let's remember when Amari Cooper signed with Cleveland. Let's go back in the time machine because I believe he's been on the Cleveland Browns for 2 years now. I believe he signed there as a free agent before last season.
He was traded for, I believe, a 6th round pick.
Oh,
that's 2023 draft from the Cowboys.
Okay.
And that was a shocking development too.
Yes. Okay, that's right. I forgot about the trade. Sorry, everybody.
That's okay.
You see, obviously, my brain is not. I don't have the encyclopedic knowledge about some things, but Amari Cooper, since he's gone to Cleveland, he has been their number 1 receiver. He has been, without question, their ace. Whenever they need a big catch, Cooper's been the one getting it. David Njoku has started to come on the last few games, but Amari Cooper, in spite of the quarterback play, whoever the quarterback is under center, he has been consistent, and he keeps performing well. And a lot of people said Cleveland, they raised their eye when he was traded to Cleveland, and they're going, "Oh, that's where he'll go to die." Not so. He has been amazing, and I would say now this year, obviously, the Browns' defense has been very good for parts of the season, but he has been a big reason of why they're still pushing for the playoffs and why they still have a shot, because even with Joe Flacco aside, Joe Flacco has been doing some very good things for the Browns. And
straight off the couch.
Yes, and you think you've got to think, oh, what might have been, but Amari Cooper was making catches even when PJ Walker was back there. He's made catches when it's been what was the name of the rookie quarterback that was there? Dominic Rogers Cromartie, or DTR. Dominic
Thompson,
Dorian Thompson Robinson. My apologies. Yeah. So whoever's been back there, and also when Deshaun Watson was there, he's his number 1. So Amari Cooper, he gets my most notable performance, but not only for this week, but also for his Cleveland Brown career, because everybody kind of threw dirt on him when he went there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I gotta say another honorable mention for most notable performance. The numbers for Monday Night Football. Guess how many millions of viewers Monday Night Football had in last night's game?
Oh man, I'm gonna say 15 million.
Keep going.
Whoa! All right, 25 mil.
A little bit. You're getting warmer. Getting warmer.
All right. 28 million.
Close.
All right.
Just a skosh cold. 27.2 million.
Wow.
It's the second most watched Monday Night Football game in the last 27 years. And that's an impressive stat. So NFL fans, give yourselves a round of applause for an honorable mention this week on the most notable performance of week 16 in the NFL.
Side note, how do you feel if you're the NBA? You've had Christmas Day for a long time, and now the NFL just shuffles in and just demolishes. Oh, man. Oh,
If I'm
wow.
Adam Silver, I'm feeling like garbage right
Yeah.
now. Oh man, I'm the star of the show. I'm the star of the show. Oh, dang it. The NFL came along and stole our shine.
Yeah.
Oh
Oh,
well.
man.
All right. Hottest take of the week, Dustin. What was your hottest take of the week coming away from week 16 in the NFL?
All right. Well, based on a couple of factors, and my biggest disappointment being one of them, kind of a continuation from last week, where I think we both kind of did this, but after they made such a statement on a national stage, I'm sorry to the Baltimore Ravens. I'm sorry. I haven't talked about you enough. You have not been brought up as one of the elite teams in the NFL. I'm sorry. I think it's because maybe if I had to guess, it's because, Harbaugh's been there a long time. Ozzie Newsome, he's been there a long time. They do what they do, and they just kind of fly under the radar because I would venture, while they are not devoid of stars, far from it, they don't have some of the star power that some of the other teams have. You're not looking at like a Jalen Hurts or a Christian McCaffrey or a AJ Brown or Debo Samuel or Brandon Ayuk. It's not as flashy, or even a CeeDee Lamb, so to speak. But I'll tell you, this Baltimore defense is very, very, very good. They might be the number one defense in the NFL right now, and that's saying something because a lot of people like to anoint the San Francisco 49ers as the number one defense, and at points the Dallas Cowboys as the number one defense. But this team has it going on, and they've kind of done it under the radar a little bit, and they are getting hot at the right time. When Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills were faltering, the Ravens were winning. When Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs are struggling, the Ravens are winning. And when San Francisco confoundingly loses a game that they shouldn't lose, the Ravens are winning. And they just went out and dominated a San Francisco team full of star power. And it's not like the Niners were able to move the ball a bit on the Ravens defense, but they had that classic bend don't break mentality, and they generated 5 turnovers. The 4 picks from Brock Purdy and the 1 pick from former Jet great Sam Darnold in there. I'll tell you, the Ravens, their offense is good enough to keep up with the elite offenses in the NFL, and their defense is playing as well as anybody, and they are on a heater. And we all better watch it, because the Baltimore Ravens are coming, and they could be hoisting the Lombardi Trophy by the time everything's all said and done. So Baltimore, I apologize to your city. I apologize to the Ravens. I apologize to Cal Ripken. I'll just keep going. However, I will not apologize to Art Modell. I'm sorry.
Nor should you. All right. My hottest individual take from this week, and I hope my friend Julie from Michigan is watching.
Here we go.
Because I'm about to talk about the Detroit Lions one more time. About 2 months ago in the same program, when the Detroit Lions got off to that hot start, I said this team could compete for not only a playoff spot, but this team could possibly compete for the conference championship. And as soon as I said that, they went to Baltimore, the aforementioned Baltimore Ravens, and got absolutely slapped, backhanded on television, in front of a national television audience. I think that game was that game was Jim Nantz and Tony Romo taking over. They were on that game.
Yeah.
It was definitely not a Spiro Ditas, Adam Archuleta D-list game of the week.
All right. I'll keep my Spiro Ditas thoughts quiet. I don't want any more Twitter heat.
He was on the call on Sunday for the Jets and Commanders, because that's how far the Jets have fallen. Anyway, getting back to my primary discussion. But as the season went on, they started to get a little bit, let's say a little cocky. They're starting to play down to their opponents. And it happened against Chicago the first time around when they hosted Chicago. They had to claw back and win that game because they played down to Chicago. Thanksgiving, in front of a national TV audience, they lay an absolute egg against a mightily inferior Green Bay Packers team. But again, we didn't know that Green Bay was about to make a turnaround. Now they're competing for a playoff spot. So they're probably much better than I thought they were going to be. But still, played down to their opponent. The next week, they nearly blow a 21-0 lead against the New Orleans Saints. The New Orleans Saints. 21-0. And you almost blow that lead. Almost lose that game. And they don't rely on Derek Carr, the turnover machine that he is. I'm sorry, Jameis Winston, the turnover machine he is, to give them that win. Then they get blown out and played flat as a piece of paper in Chicago at Soldier Field against the Chicago Bears team that is still in the playoff hunt. Confoundingly, because that's how bad the NFC is.
Yes, confoundingly with Fludini at the helm, no less.
But to their credit, the Detroit Lions had a get-right game last Saturday night against the Denver Broncos, and they absolutely backhanded them on NFL Network on Saturday night. Then, this week, they go into Minnesota. They force 6 turnovers against the Vikings, and they clinch their first division title in 30 years when they were still part of the NFC Central Division. That's how far back we're talking. They were still in the NFC Central, or as Chris Berman lovingly says, the NFC North Division. Mm-hmm. Shout out Chris Berman. Now they're in a position where they could possibly not only they're currently in a 3-way tie for the first overall seed in the NFC. They're at 11-4, and they are in position to possibly clinch home field. Now they have to win out the next 2 games. They have a tough game that's coming up on Saturday night in Dallas against the Dallas Cowboys in Jero World. And I believe they close out at home against the Vikings, if I'm not mistaken. I'll double check their schedule. But they have to win up the rest of the way, and they have to have the 49ers and Eagles lose at least one out of their last 2 games. And Philly, their last 2 games, they're at home against Arizona. Then they're at the New York Giants, who surprisingly played them well on Christmas Day. And then San Francisco, who currently owns the top spot in the NFC based on percentage points, based on I believe it was a conference record. They have a better conference record than the Detroit Lions and Philadelphia Eagles. They have the Washington Commanders and the LA Rams. Which LA Rams, I will say this: we've talked about the LA Rams we thought they were going to be worse than they were last year. Mm-hmm. Turns out, this is a much different team than we thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
But Detroit needs to win out. They need some help along the way. If they get that help from either the Rams, the Cardinals, the Commanders, or the Giants, they could take the top seed in the NFC Central, the NFC playoff picture, earn themselves a first-round bye in the playoffs, which I believe is the first time since 1991 that they earn a first-round bye in the playoffs, and they could be a top contender for the NFC. They could represent. We could see them in Vegas representing the NFC. That's how much confidence I have in this Detroit Lions team. We're going into next week.
Yeah, I mean, let me say, Christmas. There's a lot of good vibes around Christmas time. One of the things that made me feel the most heartwarming is watching the Lions celebrate when they clinched the NFC North crown. You know, it was so happy for that team, so happy for that city, so happy. Dan Campbell, we love him. We thought he was going a little crazy. We thought he was, getting a little wild with his antics, going for it on 4th down and stuff. But man, the Lions, they're roaring at the right time, much like the Ravens.
Yeah, and Detroit, sports-wise, is kind of on the rise with the Red Wings doing pretty well However,
Don't talk about the
the
Pistons.
Detroit Pistons, good Lord, they lost 24 in a row. Although right now they're in a tight game with the Brooklyn Nets, so we'll see what happens. All right, we're taking our final commercial break. When we come back, we'll talk about what we're looking forward to in NFL Week 17. You're tuned in to No Credentials Required. Hey everyone, it's Ryan from No Credentials Required to talk to you about one of our newest partners at Belly Up Sports, SeatGeek. Yeah, live sports is great on television, but the feeling of being at the arena is a priceless experience. That's why our friends at SeatGeek are there to help you find the best tickets at the best prices. Not only can you get tickets to sporting events, but you can also get tickets to concerts, comedy shows, musicals, and more. Search for your desired event now at SeatGeek.com, enter promo code BellyUpSports at checkout, and you save $20 off your first purchase. SeatGeek. Life's an event. We have the tickets.
That's right, everybody. That's right, everybody. Christmas just ended for most, but hey, maybe you're still celebrating something, or maybe you forgot to get a gift for that special someone. Maybe they would like concert tickets. Do you know what their favorite band is? Do you know, are they fans of a comedian? Maybe a Tom Segura, maybe a Burt Kreischer, maybe a Bill Burr, trying to think of other comedians. But there are a lot of comedians touring. If they're a comedy fan, go to SeatGeek. Go to SeatGeek, have them grab some tickets. You can get $20 off your first order if you use the code BELLYUP at checkouts. That'll help. That'll help you spread some holiday cheer, some post-holiday cheer. Or maybe you want to treat yourself during the new year. Maybe you want to start the new year off with a sporting event. Maybe you want to go see the phenom Connor Bedard in Chicago. Maybe you want to see my favorite hockey player, one Connor McDavid, play on the Oilers, use his talents. Maybe you want to go to an NBA game. John Morant just returned. He's a very entertaining player. There is a myriad of options. Check out SeatGeek. Do yourself a favor. Use Belly Up at checkout. Promo code will save you a little bit of money. $20 off your first order of, I believe, 50 or more. SeatGeek, everybody. Code BELLYUP at checkout. And we'd like to thank you for tuning in. We are here. Ryan is big.
Big.
I was just extolling the virtues.
Promo code BellyUpSports at checkout. $20 off your first order of $50 or more at SeatGeek.com.
Yes, indeed.
It's not too late to get that New Year's gift of tickets for sporting events and other things that require ticket at the box office.
That's what I was doing. I was extolling the virtues of spreading post-holiday cheer or starting the new year off on the right foot.
That's right. All right, we're moving on. NFL Week 17, what we're looking forward to. The most intriguing matchup of the week. I'll take the lead with this one. There are quite a few matchups. They're very intriguing going into Week 17 of the NFL season. But since I'm in the holiday spirit, still in the holiday spirit, because there are 12 days of Christmas, according to the song. Today is Two Turtle Doves. It's also the feast of St. Stephen, according to my Catholic friends. I don't know. I grew up Protestant, so the only feasts we know are potlucks that happen occasionally after service. But I'm going to give you two intriguing matchups, not one, but two, since I'm in a generous mood with the holiday spirit. Saturday night, Lions-Cowboys. As I mentioned in the last segment, talked about how important it is for the Lions to win out so they could possibly grab themselves a first-round bye with a home field advantage. But you can't forget about the Dallas Cowboys, who are still in position to possibly win the NFC East. Now, according to the standings, which I will look at right now, they are currently one game back of the Philadelphia Eagles, who they split their series in their matchups going into this week. But I mentioned Philadelphia's schedule. They got Arizona and the Giants. Dallas Cowboys, they've got a tougher road with the Detroit Lions and the Washington Commanders, who I'll give them credit. Shout out to Drew Willingham, or Buddy D. Willie, who are scrappier than they appeared to look for a bunch of dumpster Pelicans. So that's my first matchup because Dallas has to win to stay in the hunt for the NFC East crown and possibly a first round by themselves. If they went out and the 49ers, I think the 49ers, the 49ers beat them, so they would have the advantage. Okay, so never mind. But Dallas can still win the NFC East and get themselves a home playoff spot. Detroit can win out and possibly get themselves a home field advantage if things go right. So it'll be very interesting. That particular matchup still is pretty interesting. The other match I'm looking at, and this will please Dustin, is the rematch. Super Bowl XL as the Steelers visit the Seahawks.
I don't like to talk about that game.
I won't mention it again, but I had to because it really is the rematch of Super Bowl XL. Steelers need to win out and get some help to reach the playoffs. Seahawks just need to win out to be in the playoffs. They currently, I believe they own the 7th seed in the NFC. Yes, they own the 7th seed in the NFC. They're just above the Vikings, the Falcons, the Packers, the Saints, and the Chicago Bears. Again, who are how the heck are you still alive?
Yeah.
They're still in the playoff hunt, but this is two scrappy teams are going to be battling out for playoff position. I think this game's going to be a lot of fun. So there's your twofer for most intriguing matchup of Week 17, and I'm looking forward to. Dustin, what about you? The most intriguing matchup in Week 17?
Ryan, those are some good ones. And first off, let me say, do I still hold a grudge from 2005/6? Yes.
Yep.
I hope that the Seahawks win this game, but the Steelers had me scared, especially after what they were able to pull off against this Bengals team here, where you were right. Pencil in Mason Rudolph at quarterback. That's a win for the Bengals. Not so.
To which I forgot to add in some comments before we went to commercial break from my buddy Tim Capper of the Alouettes Flight Deck podcast, who is also a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. He said his most notable performance went to Mason Rudolph of the Steelers. Mm-hmm. And we also talked about the some teams are getting hot at the right time, the Ravens and the Lions. He says, hot at the right time, eh? That sure sounds a lot like what happened in the CFL. And if you missed out in the CFL, the Montreal Alouettes, which is the team that Tim Capper follows, shout out to Tim Capper, shout out to Cliffy D, who's been in this program before. Actually, they've both been in this program. The Montreal Alouettes were the hot team going into the CFL playoffs. Went up winning out. They won, I believe, with the playoffs. They won their last 8 in a row. They won the Grey Cup. So kudos to them. I'm a Montreal Alouettes fan too, so I was very happy myself. So Dustin, again, getting back on track. Dustin, your most intriguing matchup for Week 17 in the NFL.
Well, I'm going to take a page from your book because I am also still in the holiday spirit. But I got to say, my most intriguing matchup is, first to start, it's the Dolphins versus the Ravens. I want to see how Tua performs against this Ravens defense. And also, I want to see if the Ravens defense can shut down another high-powered offense for the second week in a row. Because say what you want about the Dolphins, they are a high-powered offense. And I do think Mike McDaniel will have some surprises up his sleeve for the Baltimore Ravens, but the way John Harbaugh has them playing, they'll be prepared for him. So this is a very, very intriguing matchup for me. And I want to see what the Ravens offense could do as well, because the Dolphins defense, while I don't think they've been as good as people thought they were going to be, they can play well in spurts. So I think this is a matchup with heavy AFC seeding implications on the line, where I believe the Ravens are sitting at, 12 and 3.
12 and 3.
And the Dolphins are at 11 and 4, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's correct, sir.
This is a swing game right here. It's gonna and it could be a good one, I really think. And then honorable mention for me goes to the Saints Bucks in the NFC South, because the
Okay.
Bucks, I mean, we know what Baker's done. It's been one of the crazy things, and somebody has to win that NFC South. And the
Yep.
Saints are still in it, surprisingly. So this also has playoff implications.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Moving on. Desperation City. Dustin, who are two teams that are desperate this week?
Desperation City for me is there was really only one game to pick. I don't like when we pick the same game, but to me it's
Well, too bad.
yeah. Yeah, to me it's Bengals Chiefs. And you had a really good take on this, so I'm not gonna spoil your thunder, but the Chiefs need to rebound in a big way, and the Bengals need this win to keep their playoff hopes alive. And with that, I cede the floor to you, sir.
Yeah. Bengals Chiefs in my mind is Desperation City because we're not sure what team we're going to see on Sunday with both teams. With both teams, the Bengals got, like I said, got backhanded last Saturday afternoon. Nobody saw that coming. Nobody saw that coming. And this is a team who's been struggling on the struggle bus most of the year with Joe Burrow playing and then it gets hurt, and then Jake Browning comes in, has a clunker of a game. Now he's on fire. Now he's playing with heat in his arm and his hands. With the exception of last week, I think for the Bengals to win, they got to reestablish the running game, or the defense has got to show up. While the Chiefs, again, I don't know who they are. They can move the ball down the field, but they can't score. And it seems like every week they look less and less like the Super Bowl champions they were last year. Both these teams, now the Chiefs can still win the division. They're hanging on by a thread, but they can still win the division. They have 2 games up on the Broncos. Broncos win out, the Chiefs lose out. Yeah, there's no telling what they could. I don't know who wins the tiebreaker because they split this season series. But this is a Chiefs team. I don't know who they are. I'm very confused. Defensively, they're very good. Well, bad game withstanding when they can't stop the run against the Las Vegas Raiders. But they need to establish the momentum. This is a team that I don't know who. I just can't figure out who they are at the current moment. And at least offensively, their identity. I don't know where their identity is, but they have to win this game. Absolutely, positively have to win this game. Both teams have to win this game for the Chiefs to stay on the top of the division, and for the Bengals to stay in the playoff hunt. They both need to win this division. They both need to win this game. Castor Oil game of the week. If it's not any obvious, 49ers Commanders. Outside of Santa Clara, does anyone outside of Santa Clara, I don't think anybody in the DMV cares to watch this game. No, but anyone outside of Santa Clara, does they have any interest in watching this game? And again, shout out to our guy, Drew Willingham, D. Willie. This game's going to be a blowout. It's going to be another notch. It's going to be another notch in the bedpost of reasons why Ron Rivera is not going to come back next season.
Hopefully it'll be smooth sailing for him as he sails on to his next venture, because yes, he will not be the coach of the Commanders next season. We don't need the Stradamus Thunder for that. I think we both firmly agree. But you're right. And also add to that the Ravens just smacked the 49ers. The 49ers will be eager to take out a measure of revenge and take out their frustrations on a Commanders team. Now, would I be surprised if the Commanders find some way to kind of try to fight and keep this game closer than it should be? No, because they've done it to other teams. They play the Eagles very well this year, both times when they played them. But I don't think that's going to happen this game. This game's going to get out of hand quickly. 49ers have too much star power, too much high-powered offense, and that defense is going to pin its ears back and get after Sam Howell. Sam, I'll send you a Christmas card in advance. You're going to need a get well card after this one, buddy.
I kind of wonder, because in that game on Monday night, I believe Brock Purdy suffered a stinger. It was the second one of the season. I wonder, because the 49ers do have the division in hand. They're 11-4. The
Yeah.
next closest team is Seattle. They're 8-7, so they can't win the division.
Can't catch them.
Can't catch them. I would have to think with the division locked up, would Kyle Shanahan hesitate? Would he not hesitate to play Sam Darnold on Sunday against the Commanders? Seeing how the Commander season has gone, seeing yes that they came back last week against my New York Jets and was down 27-7. You got some momentum, want to taking the lead late, and then the Jets kicked the field goal. But I have to wonder if they want Brock Purdy to be healthy for the playoffs, if they're going to stick with Sam Darnold in this game.
That could be something that they might do, and I would be 100% inclined to agree with you. Had Brock Purdy not had the game that he had against the Ravens, 4 interceptions might do something to your confidence. So I could see Kyle Shanahan kind of playing both sides a little bit. I could see him put Brock Purdy in there for like first and maybe second quarter. And if the Niners get out to an aggressive early lead, then he pulls him and goes to Darnold. Just, I could see Shanahan try to rebuild Brock Purdy's confidence a little bit going in to the playoffs by doing that. But I would also not be surprised if he just said, "Hey, Sam, we brought you in for situations like this. Go get us a W."
Yeah. I mean, even Castor Oil Games of the Week has interesting narratives going into the games. That's how it makes this.
Or is it that we're such great podcasters we can just turn them into intriguing matchups? We can shape
a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. Player to watch in Week 17. Dustin, you kind of alluded to it in your most intriguing matchup. You have Tua on your mind,
yes,
as the player to watch in Week 17. My player to watch in Week 17 is Baker Mayfield.
Mm-hmm.
You talked about him last week, Dustin. I believe you were lauding, you were singing his praises with his performance he had against the Green Bay Packers. Mm-hmm. Had another impressive performance against the Jacksonville Jaguars, and which I thought could have been my upset pick for this week as well. But let's look at things this way: the Buccaneers were left for dead.
Yes,
when they lost 6 of 7 games from October going into November. Right now, they're on a 4-game winning streak. In the last 2 games, the catalyst for those wins has been Baker Mayfield. And he was a guy who was pretty much left for dead after last season. He was released by Cleveland and went to the Rams, won them a game, didn't really play that well the rest of the year. And he played. Actually, he went to Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Went to Carolina, and that hot take of yours talking about how Carolina could be a wild card team in 2022.
Because I thought he was going to come out with a certain energy, Ryan. Turns out I was just a year early.
You were just a year early, exactly.
Yeah.
But he's been the catalyst on the offense for both those wins. He had 300 plus yards against the Packers. He had almost 300 yards against the Jacksonville Jaguars, 3 touchdowns. I believe it was 3 touchdowns. Maybe it was 2 touchdowns. But I want to see if they'll keep this. Now, the next 2 games, the last 2 games of the year, they're going to play the execrable New Orleans Saints, who, again, how the heck are you still alive? The New Orleans Saints. And they wrap up the season at Carolina, who, let's just say that, I mean, they're a scrappy team. They've been a scrappy team over the last couple of weeks. But yeah, Baker Mayfield, 2 touchdowns, 283 yards passing last week. He's got 3,500 plus yards this year. He's on track to land with almost 3,900 passing yards this year. This is a guy who was set adrift by the Cleveland Browns, the Carolina Panthers, and the LA Rams. Winds up going to Tampa Bay because they needed a quarterback after Tom Brady retired. And I'm going to say this about the Buccaneers. Even with the losing streak they had, they were still competitive.
Yeah.
They've only lost by they've only lost by 14 points twice this year. They haven't lost by more than 14 points all year. And all the other losses they have been by a touchdown or less. And Baker Mayfield's kept them in games, although albeit you'll see him try to be that gunslinger, and he has that untimely interception that we're all used to seeing. But I'm kind of curious. I'm really curious to see what he does for the next 2 weeks with this against a pretty easy schedule.
Yeah. Yeah, and you hit the nail on the head. He was written off by everyone. I mean, we all talked about how he had probably been done dirty when he was let go by the Cleveland Browns because of his shoulder issues, but we know the real reason. They were making the room for Deshaun Watson to come in. It was known Baker Mayfield was a dead man walking his last year in Cleveland. Everybody knew that they were trying to clear the books for Deshaun Watson. Carolina, it did not go well. But honestly, is that more of an indictment of Baker Mayfield, or was that, looking back with some hindsight, was that more of an organizational / the team around him problem? Baker's found himself again a little bit in Tampa Bay, and I have to wonder if the Cleveland Browns are wondering, wonder if we kept 6. Things are working out okay with one Joe Flacco rescuing them off the couch, which if Joe Flacco somehow leads the Cleveland Browns to the playoffs, and then especially if they do some damage in the playoff, Joe Flacco's got to be the comeback player of the year. I'm calling it right now. I mean, come on.
I mean, I would argue Baker Mayfield being the comeback player of the year
could be.
The seasons he's having.
Yeah. So, I mean, you got to wonder if in Cleveland, Kevin Stefanski's kind of looking with the side eye and being like, maybe we should have kept 6.
Maybe. Before we get out of here, a couple more comments in the comment section from our buddy Tim Capper. Steelers win. Coach Mike Tomlin's streak of winning seasons continues.
I wish I could say I thought you were wrong.
Would be extended to 17 seasons without a losing seasons. However, on the flip side, if they lose out, it'll be his first losing season as a head coach, period.
Yeah.
And your Uncle Al chimes in, Baker, better than Deshaun.
There we go. Succinct from Uncle Al.
Yep. Now, I'm kind of wondering if he would rather have Deshaun Watson or cut out cardboard Joe Flacco on on the Cleveland Browns.
You know what? Maybe we should ask Uncle Al's a Giants fan. Would he rather have Baker than the passing Paisan, which is one of the better nicknames I heard for old Tommy DeVito?
Yeah, wasn't that Jimmy Garoppolo's nickname at one point?
It might have been. But we call him Jimmy GQ on this show.
It's true. It's true. We do.
Shout out to the 06010, specifically Matthew Berry. I can't take full credit for that one.
All right, folks, we're just about to get out of here. But before we go, we got to remind you about our socials here below: Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, at NoCredsREQ, Facebook.com/NoCredsREQ, YouTube.com/at NoCredsREQ. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe on all of our social media platforms. On the audio side, subscribe to the podcast wherever you find podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Google Play, wherever you podcast. Written review, 5 stars is the rating we prefer. And again, if you leave us a review on a platform where you can leave a review, we might even read your review on the air. And your uncle chimes in and says, Baker, 100%. And just want to remind everyone out there, if you're watching or listening, don't forget, starting on January 6th, it's the Saturday brunch on the regular, starting at 10 a.m. Eastern, where we review, since we usually cover the NFL in this program for the NFL season, we want to talk about the rest of the week in sports. And we're going to do so on the regular starting January 6th at 10 a.m. with the No Credentials Required Saturday brunch. We're really excited to bring it to you. We're actually really excited for the next year and what's coming up. We got some pretty cool things we're going to talk about coming down the road. We still have to do our our frozen pizza review. I believe we're going to do a
Oh yeah,
frozen pizza review.
no kitchen required. I
No
think
kitchen
is
required.
something.
So that'll be coming soon. I think we might have to do it the week of Super Bowl, the week of the Super Bowl, when there's no games. So, but we'll talk about it off air. But anyway, thank you for tuning in to No Credentials Required, where you don't need to press pass to talk sports. We are once again, as always, presented by Belly Up Sports in association with Gozilla Media. For Dustin Henry, I'm Ryan McCarthy. Thank you for tuning in, and we will talk to you next week.
Good night, everybody.